Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the Antari's videos. My nickname is Antari and my job is to entertain you with another very intense Pokemon Wi-Fi battle. Today my opponent is Loco9443 from the TPX chat, that's the place where I found him. And he's also on YouTube, so I'll leave all the links in the description, check them out if you like. And as far as the intro is concerned, that is all, so let's get started. This is a standard match and I decided to bring in my old team because overall it's kind of balanced, and for some unknown reason I love to use Deoxys Defense Form and Magneton. So I lead off with Espeon, he leads off with Nidoking. So predicting that he will take a switch, fearing my Stab Psychic, I decide to go for a trick, hoping that he will take a switch into some wall, but surprisingly for me, he went for a Taunt. I have no idea where's the trick behind this, because my Espeon got Magic Bounce, which can reflect all non-attacking moves into him. Thanks to the fact that he is now taunted and he's locked into using taunt, he will struggle, and this will give him some recoil. And after that, seeing that I decided to steal from him my Choice Scarf, because it will be beneficial to me in the long run, I can still lock some wall into using Choice Scarf. So I decided to take a switch to my other M just to get his offensive move, Ice Beam. And after that he decided to go for taunt, which is kind of good. I was predicting here a switch, but he decided to stay in, which is kind of bad because my Deoxys defense form doesn't have any offensive moves, so he will basically struggle. Here I should take a switch into my Espeon just to reflect his Stealth Rocks into him, but stupidly I decided to stay in with my other M just to struggle, and this struggle gives me some recoil, which is quite bad. This is really a bad beginning of the game for me. Let's see if I can pull it off. So he decided to take a switch into his Arcanine, because right now he's got his Entry Hazards on the field. So I take a switch into Bones, because there was really no point in staying in with my other M just to get some more recoil. It would be completely stupid. So seeing that he's got the advantage, I decided to take a switch into my free times, foreseeing that his Arcanine is probably no ordinary one with some typical offensive moves like Close Combat or Flare Blitz. I decided to went for my Espeon, and he goes for a Roar, so thanks to my Magic Bounce I will roar him out, and Roar brings out his Scizor. Here there is really tiny chance that he's carrying Pursuit and that this is his Choice Banded Scizor. I decided to take that risk and take a switch into my Dragonite just to resist his U-turn, and that turns out to be a good part play of mine, because he actually goes for U-turn, and right now I got turn advantage, so I can see that he brings in his Nidoking, so I bring in my counter Azumarill just to scare him off with my Waterfall. Actually, I went here for a superpower because I can see that all of his guys are at least neutral to the fighting type attacks, so this will do decent damage to pretty much everything which he decided to bring in next turn. So he brings in Blastoise, and this will do some nice chunk of damage, but still not one hit KO. This need to be his physical wall with max defense stats. So predicting his Toxic coming, I take a switch into my Magneton, which turns out to be epic part play of mine. And after that, predicting that he will go for his Electivire, because he probably thought that I'll go for Thunderbolt just to kill the Blastoise. But I decided to play safe, go for a Substitute, and then for a Hidden Power Ice just to deal him some damage. Unfortunately for me it did less than a half, so it will need to be a 3-hit KO. I decided to play safe and take a switch to my other M, predicting his Earthquake coming. Deoxys defense form, take it like a pro, and after that I can see that his Electivire pretty much can't touch me, so I decided to set up my rocks because it will be beneficial to me in the long run. It will help to take down this Electivire definitely. So I set up my rocks, he brings in his Umbreon. So I decided to predict that this is his Cursing one Umbreon, because that's the one which I'm seeing these days. So I go for Taunt, and this turns out to be a good power play of mine because he actually goes for a Curse. So right now I can easily go for this Recover just to get some HP back or predict his switch. But he decided to go for Payback, which is stab and kind of powerful, but that did definitely too much, and there was a crit. So I got pretty unlucky here. I need to go for Recover because my Deoxys defense armor is too valuable to me in this battle. So I decided to go for Recover just to get back to full health, and he went for a Payback again because maybe he was hoping that he will get a crit on me again, but fortunately that didn't happen, and right now I'm at full health. So he went for a Payback again, and this will definitely not do that much as in the first turn. So we just wasted some time for nothing, sitting here and recovering, going for a Payback and stuff like that. So after that I decided to go for a taunt. He takes a switch into his Blastoise because probably at this point he wants to get rid of the Stealth Rocks with Rapid Spin. But I'm quite sure that he's not going for a Toxic because I taunt him, so I take a switch to my Azumarill just to get this Rapid Spin, and after that I got some free damage pretty much on everything in his team, because Superpower will definitely do some nice chunk of damage to all of his guys. So I went for a Superpower. He decided to sacrifice his Umbreon. It's a super effective move, so this will definitely one-hit KO this Moonlight, and yeah, that was one threat gun just like that. For me, it's kind of good. So after that he decided to bring in his Scizor, and assuming that he will go for a U-turn, I decided to take a switch, but he shows me that he's actually carrying Pursuit. So I was like, what the hell? This will definitely, you know, influence the outcome of this game, because my Azumarill is kind of low here and he's got his rocks on the field. So I decided to take a switch into my Dragonite. Unfortunately for me, he ends up getting crit on his Pursuit, which kind of sucks. I'm quite sure that it mattered, but oh well. I will not gonna cry. So here comes my Magneton. It can take those Pursuits all day. So I went for a Substitute, predicting his switch into Electrowire. It was a kind of safe play on my part. So after that he decided actually to go for his Electrowire, predicting my T-Bolt. So I went for this Reflect, predicting that he will bring in his Electrowire now. And it's also good to have some protection on the field, and yeah. So he goes for Earthquake. This will break up my sub, but right now I can easily go for Hidden Power Ice just to deal him some damage. I was quite sure that it won't one-hit kill this thing, seeing the damage dealt by the first one. But still, if I got my rocks up, this thing probably can't take the Stealth Rock recoil. So I take a switch into my Deoxys defense form, because it was this Electrowire like a god. And after that, predicting that he will probably take a switch because there's no point in staying in, my other M is looking kinda good. So I'd say to set up my rocks, he takes a switch into his Blastoise, which is understandable because he wants to get rid of this Stealth Rocks. So surprisingly for me, he decided to go for a Toxic instead of Rapid Spin this turn, so I go for a T-Wave just to paralyze it and to make sure that the next Pokemon which will enter the field on my side will enter it safely. So Reflect wears off, and that's kind of bad for me, but I decided to take that risk and take a switch into my Magneton. So he went for Rapid Spin this turn, which is kind of unfortunate, but still, probably he isn't carrying any offensive moves, so I can easily go for Substitute just to get the advantage and fully set up on him. But he decided to reveal me that he's carrying Roar, and I was just freaked out by that, because he's carrying in his team two pokes with Roar, Arcanine and Blastoise, which is super weird for me, but okay. So Roar brings out my 3 times. I'll just finish off this thing with my Stab Psychic, and after that he decided to bring in a kind of good counter, Scizor. So I went for a Psychic, predicting his Pursuit coming. I ended up getting a crit, which kind of, you know, make up for those crit on my other M with this payback on Umbreon. So after that he will take me down with another Pursuit, and decided to bring out my Azumarill just to you know, AJ this thing to death. And after that he decided to be wise and bring in his Arcanine, which will intimidate my Azumarill. I can't switch because of the Stealth Rock recoil, so I'm kind of forced to use Aqua Jet to deal him some damage, but unfortunately for me he's carrying extreme speed, so he will outspeed and kill off my Azumarill. So after this very sad fact, I decided to bring in my Deoxys defense form just to get you know, this Stealth Rocks up, in order to make sure that his Electrowire won't enter the field, because the recoil will probably take it down. So I set them up and I take those crunches like a monster. And after that he decided to finish me off with another crunch, and that's kind of good because my Deoxys defense form did absolutely great in this match. Set up its rocks finally, and he can't Rapid Spin it because his Blastoise is down. So after that I bring in my Magneton, and I thought that he'll go for Flare Blitz, but he decided surprisingly for me to go for extreme speed. Probably he was fearing that I'll outspeed him, and I ends up surviving that, which is amazing. And after that, thanks to the Analytic, you know, I will attack second, so my Thunderbolt is kind of powerful. And yeah, it will take it down. So after that all he has left is his Nidoking, because his Electrowave won't survive this Stealth Rock recoil, and he will go for this Earth Power just to take down my Magneton. And after that all I have left is my Bones. His only offensive move which can touch me is Ice Beam, so I know that I can take it like a monster because it's my fully specially defense trained Mandibuzz. So I go for a Roost, but unfortunately for me, game decided to fuck me over because I end up getting a Freeze Hacks. So as you can see here, I'm able to take 3 of those ice beams, so I can easily go for roost just to get back to the full my HP. And then I was carrying this brave bird, so I can probably 2-hit kill this Nidoking and finish off this match in great style. But still, it was a great game, very close one. And yeah, that's all for today, guys. Thanks you for watching and see you next time. Goodbye.